There really is nothing quite like the Six Nations, and to think we've not even had a whole round yet is extraordinary. So much was packed into yesterday's doubleheader. Cardiff was flooded with green jerseys, and even its Warren Gatland-shaped sandbags proved futile. Wales 10, Ireland 34. Scotland, they brought the Calcutta Cup down south, allowed Twickenham a peek at it, and then snatched the trophy back by one of the best individual scores you will ever see from Duhan van der Merwe. England 23, Scotland 29, and we're up and running. I'm Claire Thomas, and it's a real pleasure to be bringing you coverage of the final match of round one here on Sports Extra, Italy versus France. It's an all-blue clash of underdogs and defending champions, of those clutching a wooden spoon and those brandishing a Grand Slam, of two of the tournament's youngest, most exciting teams. Kickoffs at 3 o'clock here at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome, where it's a balmy 15 degrees, perfect weather for running rugby. And I'm delighted to say that the next couple of hours will feature one of the world's most instantly recognisable scrum halves, a live wire number 9 who's built a career on terrorising defences and with a Grand Slam winner's medal tucked away in his sock drawer. Yes, Danny Carr, I am talking about you and not Antoine Dupont. Welcome along.
What a lovely reception that is. Thank you and so eloquently put out there. You're brilliant to work with already.
Oh, thank you very much. This is our first time in commentary together, Danny and myself. There are some very familiar pairings out on the pitch, and we will talk you through all of those in just a moment. But first, we were both at Twickenham yesterday. Have you recovered from the drama of it all?
Oh, firstly, what a day. Everybody has been so excited for the game, the Calcutta Cup, and it didn't disappoint. I thought fair play to Scotland. They withstood a lot of pressure, a lot of pragmatic England play. England kicked an awful lot of ball and just said to Scotland, try and make an error, try something. And what I loved about the Scottish performance was they were brave. They were brave enough to, when it was on, to throw it and to have a go. And that's, signified in that Duhan van der Merwe's, one slightly loose kick from England, don't get the chase right. Van der Merwe spots a gap and scores one of the greatest tries in Six Nations history, and scores a pretty good one towards the end of the game as well. So credit where credit's due. Gregor Townsend and Scotland, they deserve the victory.
And what about the man in the other coaching box, Steve Borthwick? What did you make of his first outing in charge?
Yeah, I think the way England played didn't surprise me. There was a clear tactical game that they wanted to kick long and kick it in and try and kick it behind Big Duhan.
Big Duhan.
Yeah, he did pretty well with it, didn't he? But and I thought as a tactic, it kind of worked for a little bit. England I did see a little bit of signs of a bit more attacking play, especially in the 22. A couple of great tries. Marcus Smith with a great little nudge over for Max Mayland for his first try, and a great bit of interplay for the second. I'd like to have seen them try a little bit more. I think they were definitely told this is what you do in this area of the pitch and stick to it. And a couple of times they didn't stick to it, and they got caught unstuck. Ollie Hassel-Collins in a London Irish shirt. If you kick the ball to him, he's running 10 times out of 10. You could almost see he wanted to run, but he's maybe being told, play sensible, play down there. It nearly worked, but unfortunately for England it didn't, and Scotland come away with the spoils.
They do not want to let go of that pot, do they? We'll talk plenty more about the Calcutta Cup at half-time, but turning our attention to events here today in Rome. On paper, this one feels fairly straightforward, but just how impressed were you with 2022's Italian rugby side? Because defeating Wales in Cardiff and then taking the scalp of Australia, that's not to be sniffed at.
They had an amazing year and an amazing end to the year. I think they won 5 of the last 7 test matches in 2022, which is incredible for a nation that's emerging again. I think there's a lot of questions that Italy have had to face over the past few years. Should they be in the tournament? I think they proved in Cardiff last year that they should, and they've got moments, some magical moments in them, and they want to build on this momentum. They've got the hardest task because they've got France, but they've got them at home, and if there's ever going to be an upset, you just never know. I think it'll be tighter than people maybe assume today. I do think it is always hard to go to Italy. I've been there many times when everybody expects you to come away and win 40 or 50 points. It doesn't happen. They give you nothing easily. And I think the French will run away with it towards the end, but I think for 60 minutes, definitely Italy will be competitive.
Well, let's talk about the French, because if you've given Italy, a B+ for their 2022?
Yeah, I'd say, I'd have taken a B+ all day long at school, if I'm honest.
Well, France then, what are they? Teachers' pets, bringing an apple in every day, 13 undefeated tests. In the last 13 months, actually, Danny, they have now defeated every other top 10 team in the world. But they've got to sustain it now to the World Cup.
They do, and they peaked too early. I don't think they've even got going, if I'm honest.
Really?
I think this French team can get scarily good. I think they've shown glimpses of absolute brilliance and not many signs of weakness. You used to say that maybe the French, they might be ill-disciplined or they might give away a couple of soft tries. I think with Sean Edwards being in the last few years, he's beaten that out of them. They don't have it in them anymore. They don't seem to lose their heads. They don't give you opportunities. And in Antoine Dupont and Romain Ntamack, they've got, for me, the best half-back pairing in the world. So a very, very good team will have to play very, very well if they are to beat France on the way to this World Cup.
You've set the scene very nicely there. All the ingredients for a cracker here in Rome. Let's just take a peek at how these two sides line up. Kieran Crowley's side, they've got fewer caps than any of the matchday squads from this weekend, just 22 on average, but 17 of them were involved in that famous victory over Australia. And you do get the sense that these Azzurri are getting a taste for defeating Tier 1 opposition. The front row is Fischetti, Nicotera and Ferrari, with line-out Guru Rutzer in at lock alongside Nicolo Cannone. Nicolo's baby brother Lorenzo earns his fourth cap at number 8, in a back row featuring Negri and the ever-passionate skipper Lamaro. Barney's at scrum half. Alan wears the number 10 jersey in the absence of Garbisi, and the tried and tested duo of Marisi and Brex are the centres. Manoncello scored Italy's only try against France this time last year. He's on the left wing across from Bruno, with Capuozzo, yes, Ange Capuozzo, at full-back, poised to sprinkle a little stardust. When you look at a Fabien Galtier team sheet, two things tend to spring to mind. Firstly, relief that you're not the one in charge of stopping them. And secondly, consistency. 15 of the 15 involved against Australia and South Africa this autumn, 13 of them start today. Both of those changes are injury enforced. It's a familiar front row of Bay, Marchand and Man Mountain Antonio, with an engine room pairing of Flamand and Willemse. The back row is ballistic and bruising Jelonche, former France skipper Olivon and the omnipresent Aldrit. Captain Dupont and Ntamack, they start together as halfbacks for the 15th time, the most frequent combination in French rugby history. But it does feel like we'll never get bored of this mercurial combo, who will look to unleash a backline of Moefana and Ficou in the centres and a trio of flyers, Penaud, Ramos and debutant Dumortier. Danny, the French have not held back there at all. Why do you think that is?
He wants to win. I was there at the launch for the Six Nations, and Fabien Galtier and Antoine Dupont were steely-eyed. You can see they're focused. No team has ever won back-to-back Grand Slams. Sorry, since the French in '98, we haven't seen a back-to-back Grand Slams, and the French are going to do everything they can to make that happen for them this year. And you could just feel it. I mean, look, we're watching them now running out. They've got some big men, big, powerful men that run incredibly hard. But they also play very smart. Antoine Dupont will kick the ball an awful lot, but he'll kick very well, and they'll chase like mad things to go and get the ball back and cause some chaos in the Italian half.
You mentioned steely-eyed. Antoine Dupont has just led them out, all of them in their white anthem jerseys, and that look is pure blue steel. But so too is the look on the face of Michele Lamaro, who will lead Italy out. The Azzurri, before a rapt crowd here in Rome and a rousing reception. Out they come, all in blue, their home strip, and the entire stadium on their feet. The Guinness Six Nations trophy up upon a plinth, and plenty of the players looking to their side in the Italian sunshine, taking it all in. What a moment this is for these young men.
It's an unbelievable stadium. You kind of feel like a gladiator entering the Colosseum, because you walk up the steps and then the pitch just hits you and the fans go crazy. They are so passionate. I think I'm stating I'm saying understatement of the year here. But the Italians are incredibly passionate. You can hear them now, and it's about to get noisy with the anthems.
Two of the great anthems in world rugby as well. First, we'll have a rendition of La Marseillaise, followed by Il Canto degli Italiani. Well, an anthem that always lives up to the billing. If that doesn't have the hairs standing up on the back of your neck, then I don't know what will. Danny, these two sides facing here today in the Guinness Six Nations, one of the greatest competitions in the sport, but there's another one on the horizon, the World Cup, and they'll play each other again in Pool A in October. Will that be on their minds at all?
I don't think so at all. No, they'll just be thinking first job. Either you're kicking off or you're catching the kickoff. Just do your first job well. Get into the game. The Italians can ruffle some feathers today. They'll be incredibly. You can hear the passion. You can hear the passion with it coming out from the anthem. They're going to be so pumped for this start. It's always a really tough start against an Italian side away from home. The French will just try and rest. Probably play a little bit sensibly to start with. I'd say Antoine Dupont, Romain Ntamackle. I think kick a little bit just to get the ball in the Italians' half and not give the crowd any early ins. Trying not to give away any penalties. But the Italians, if they can get a sniff early doors and feed that momentum, then dare to dream.
And just how crucial is a win in the first round of the Six Nations? It's a competition all about momentum.
It is huge. If you lose your first game, you're suddenly then scrambling, thinking you can't lose two. And obviously England yesterday, they'll now be thinking that. So you've got to get off to a good start, and let's just hope we're going to see a great game today.
Two sides taking to the field. Kickoff in Rome is moments away. You're listening to the final match of round one on Sports Extra. We're bringing you all of the matches of this Six Nations. Italy today playing in a white strip, navy cap sleeves, plenty of red, white and green all the way across that kit. Patriotic as you like. France, they're playing in all blue. And the man in the middle today in red, Matthew Carley of the RFU. He'll be the man in the middle on the whistle, assisted by TMO Ben Whitehouse and assistant referees Nick Berry and Jordan Way. The sun is shining. It's still as you like as Ange Capozzo, the slight figure of Italy's little sorcerer, throws some grass into the Roman sky, checks the conditions, and we are up and running. Italy playing from left to right. It's Charles Ollivon, former skipper of Les Bleus, who receives the kickoff. And France's Grand Slam title defence begins. Italy are starting to make a habit of taking these big scalps. What a result that would be this afternoon. Dupont, with his first touch of the ball, kicks it into touch just the other side of the halfway line, and we'll have our first set piece of the afternoon.
It's a great start by the French. It may look really simple, but the box kick to kick it 30-40 metres with a big 6'6" second rower trying to charge you down. One for the scrum half union here. It's a great kick from Antoine Dupont. Italian with the lineup.
Giacomo Nicotera with his first throw of the afternoon. It's to the middle of the lineup, popped straight out the back, little wraparound pass, and Italy into the French half right away. Tails up, they are bang up for this one. Michele Lamaro and his men. It's the first carry of the afternoon for Nicolo Canone. He trucks it up, Varney is there, quick ball through the hands of Bruno. Allen Hands away, ball dropped, ball picked up, and France on the counter-attack. They are lethal with a little bit of wind in their sails, but the ball is loose. They're right on the cusp of the Italian 22, 5 metres away from the near touchline. It's knocked on. Italy will have a push in at the scrum, and Thomas Ramos, head in his hands, knows that he butchered an early opportunity there.
Oh, it was almost a nightmare start for the Italians. They were playing some good stuff, a little wraparound play with Tommaso Allen here, force an offload, and you think Ramos is in, he's going all the way, but good covering defence. He makes him make a decision. He doesn't dive in, and then the pass to Peno. If that's on the money, I think it's a try. Similar to the Stuart Hogg one yesterday, where Scotland could have scored again. Maybe just the ball slightly too much in front of Damien Peno there, but the Italians scrambled well, as they always do. They chased down everything.
Thomas Ramos is doing the incredible job of keeping Melvin Jaminet out of the French squad at the moment. And you hear a lot of talk about the fact that it's because of his silky smooth running. We got a glimpse of it there. So just shy of the Italian 22. 16 huge men get to work. It's white packing down against blue. Lorenzo Canone snatches it from the base, but it's patted to the sky by Dupont. How he got there, how he managed to challenge the number 8 for a ball in the air, I do not know. It's Ficou now scampering into contact, well wrapped up by Ruzzo, but over the ball is Olivon in support. A carry from Marchand, the hooker for France. Here is Antonio, 6'6", 150 kilos, and making all of them felt. Dupont goes back the other way. France right on the cusp of the Italian 22 here. By with the carry, knocks it forwards. It's knocked on again. Aldrit was chasing it down in that black and green scrum hat, but the referee's hand had gone up. We will have a scrum.
The power of Antonio there, the pace that Dupont gets to the breakdown, it's within a millisecond the ball's whipped away to a man who weighs more than a bus, carrying it round the corner. It must be the worst tackle for the Italians to make, but quick ball after quick ball. But then the French just forcing an offload, just some early nerves there. Fabien Galtier maybe just keep hold of the ball, recycle. You will cause them problems, but an early knock on there.
It does feel a bit like a cheat code having Yewini Antonio in your pack, doesn't it? It hardly seems fair to be able to roll him out.
I don't think it's fair that he plays rugby, if I'm honest, Claire. I think for the gentleman of my size, it's not fair. He's double my weight.
He'll have said, though, that it was unfair that his dreams of being a prima ballerina were quashed when he hit 6'6".
Very true, very true.
On the second scrum, just before the posts inside the Italian 22. Varney is there, sends it down the blind side. Finds Brax, who carries it through heavy traffic. Another carry from Fischetti, the loose head. Very well wrapped up by Willemse, the South African-born, now plying his trade in the French engine room. Here is a carry from Negri. Charge down, ball plucks from the skies. And here is Thibaut Flamand with a chance to stretch his legs and open the scoring for France. Their title defence up and running with just 4 minutes on the clock. And it's the lock with the charge down and the nous to score it.
Oh, it's tough on Varney. They've obviously had a little plan this week. They must have seen maybe there's a little bit of a chink in the French armour, that from rucks like this, there's maybe Antoine Dupont's in the front line. He is. French have got 14 in the front line. They try a little chip over. Unfortunately, he's picked out a 6'7" lock that's just made him look very silly. And oh, I feel for him there. I've been in that position before. But great start for the French.
And 6 foot of that is legs. The knee drive to gallop clear of a scrambling Italian defence. 5 minutes played. France up in Rome, 5 points to the good. You're listening to coverage, obviously, against France here on Sports Extra. I'm alongside England and Harlequins' Danny Kerr as Thomas Ramos lines up his first kick of the afternoon. He's a serial goal slotter. 55 points came from those laces over 3 matches this autumn. Pinpoint. And he puffs his cheeks, strikes the ball and dissects the uprights very cleanly. It flies into the stands, which are very well populated. There's a real turnout here. Danny, you played in Rome 4 times in England colours, perhaps some more still to come. Just what is it like as opposition looking to get points on the board in front of that baying mob?
It's what you need to do early doors. You need to not feed the crowd. As we heard, they're so passionate. You've got to quiet the crowd. If you quiet the crowd, it's almost like scoring a try, because you know you've done an early job very well.
Tackle!
Try scorer Flamand receives the restart just outside the French 22. Antonio, part of the world's beefiest caterpillar, as Dupont hooks it back. drops it to his left boot, sends it back into the Italian half. It's Capuzzo, and immediately the excitement levels just turn up a couple of cranks on the dial here in the Stadio Olimpico, as they will do all afternoon when he gets his hands on the ball. Lamaro, the captain, with a carry up to the halfway line now. Aldrit looking to disrupt at every opportunity, making a mess of that breakdown. But Dupont fields the bouncing ball of the clearance kick and frees his hands to find Olivon. It's a mismatch. It was Capuzzo bringing down the open side for the French through the hands of Bai. It's messy. Lots of clear-up work to do by the French, and the referee's whistle goes. Penalty to the French. An opportunity to march back down the field just moments after scoring their first try.
It's not often that a scrum half does get voted as the best player of the year. It's normally a back rower or it's a fly half, but Antoine Dupont, when he was named it, and whenever you watch him, whenever I watch him play, he doesn't make mistakes, and everything he seems to do is always the right option. He got kicked the ball there in the backfield. He takes a little touch, probably a bit too far, but he then makes the right option and manages to get an offload away against the forward. He's a cheat code in himself in that he punches so much above his weight.
And he's stood now behind the French maul that has formed just 15 metres in from this near touchline and crabbing its way towards the middle of the pack. Marchand threw that dart right to the tail of the line out, and now they find themselves in the middle of the pitch. Here goes Dupont, the best player on the planet, dancing, siding around the Italian defence, freeing a hand with the offload and straight in at the ruck, pinwheeling through tackles. Danny Kerr knows a thing or two about playing at scrum half, and we are witnessing a masterclass of it already in the Italian sunshine. Blue jerseys coming thick and fast. They're in past the 22 now, before the posts. Untamak spins it out to Bai. Voracious line speed from Nicotera, the Italian hooker, piling on the pressure, but Ficou has it now. France going backwards. Such is the appetite of this Azzurri defence. And Marchand with another carry, adding some hard yards. Aldrit, ball in two hands. The La Rochelle skipper trading in a yellow jersey for the blue one of his country this afternoon. Italy with the penalty, a big turnover under all sorts of pressure.
Yeah, the Italians withstood a bit of pressure there, fair play to them. I think the penalties maybe for going off feet, Big Willems for going off his feet. But the power that they play at, it's incredible. It really is. I think that's a bit of a tough penalty, to be honest.
He certainly looked flummoxed.
The line, please. The line.
It's been played at 100 miles an hour, this game. Only 9 minutes gone, but there are hands on knees all over the park. France up by a converted try. They lead Italy 7-0 as they get their title defence underway. Italy doing everything they can to rid themselves of that wooden spoon tag. You feel like this could be the year to do it. Rutzer wins the line out. Right in the middle of the park here, Italy. Oh, but the ball is knocked on by Capuzzo. France managing to turn it over. They have the advantage here. The whistle goes, we'll come back for it. Drill's not going to hand for the hosts.
Yeah, the Italians they look a little bit tentative. They look like they're trying to play a little bit more. Maybe they're going to try and play out of their own half a little bit more, with a little bit more of an attacking mindset. But when you do that, you have to look after the ball. The last thing you want to do is force a potential intercept, but now you've just handed the French a perfect opportunity to launch firstly their set piece, but also a pretty dynamic back line to throw something at the Italians.
It feels as though, apart from that restart, we've not seen the ball once in the 22 down the other end. We've been looking to the left since this one kicked off. Yes, we have a lethal counter-attacking game spearheaded by Ange Capuzzo, the World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year, but I get the feeling they could do with heading upfield a little bit. Varney wrapping up Dupont, who swats him away like a white jerseyed gnat. And the ball fizzed out to Flamand. He pirouettes through the tackle, manages to get the ball away. Here is Marchand. France tentatively straying into the Italian half, but they come up with the penalty again, the hosts, winning the party at the breakdown this afternoon.
Yeah, Matt Carley suddenly becoming the favourite person in the stadium for the Italian fans at the minute. The last two breakdown penalties, I think both are going off feet by the French. They're almost playing too quickly that their support play has to dive over the ruck straight away. So it's the Italians finally with a bit of field position into the French half with an opportunity to launch hopefully a strike play.
One of the directives by World Rugby when it came to rule changes in 2023 was to penalise players coming off their feet more quickly, to speed up the game and have a more entertaining product. And, well, it's been sparkling so far. Nicotera.
Over 15.
Picks out his man, and Italy with the ball. 15 metres in from this near touchline. But it's stopped almost immediately by the French heavyweights. Varney looks to carry it away from trouble, but finds himself snagged and underneath a huge pile of jerseys, blue and white. Bruno is in at acting scrum half. And again, where is Stephen Varney? Italy could use him now because they've got the ball and they've got their first sniff of stringing together a couple of phases. Tommaso Allen, Danny's mate from Harlequins, has his first carry of the afternoon. France doing everything they can to disrupt him, coming up the wrong side of the law. Another penalty. These are adding up.
They really are, and it's what you don't want to do. You don't want to do this away from home. You don't want to let the referee dictate the game, and the last three penalties have all gone against the French. Another one in the breakdown. This one, I think, for hands on the floor. Antonio, I think he's got a case to say he was on his feet, and the ball comes out, and the Italian get a penalty. Probably, I'd say they might take the 3 points here just to get the scoreboard going. I'd love to see him kick it deep and go for them all, though.
A shake of the head from Uini Antonio. The player pinged for that one as slowly but surely Italy march their way into the French half and do indeed opt for the sticks. And it's Allen, the most captain experienced player in this squad. 66 times he's pulled on the blue jersey of the Azzurri. Lining up this one. It's about 15 metres in from the near touchline. It's a long range effort and he really drives through the ball. It's sweetly struck, the yellow flags go up and everyone in Rome rises to their feet. Italy up and running. 13 minutes gone, they trail by 4 here in Rome. Italy 3, France 7.
Yeah, Italy on the scoreboard. Tommaso Allen doesn't miss many of those. He's an incredible goal kicker, incredible leader for that team. As you said, 66th cap today. What a shirt that is as well. I'm going to have to get my hands on one of those shirts. Ask him to bring me one home.
Might bring an end to your England career, Danny, if you're seen marching around in an Italian jersey, but you're right, they are a slick piece of kit. The ball is loose all of a sudden off the restart. Bruno does brilliantly to hoover it up with one hand, but Aldry now picks up the loose ball. France all of a sudden, Amis are out to pick and a go. A short tip on pass and the ball is dotted down by Marchand. Absolute chaos in Rome. Italy caught napping the ball loose. And no one quicker to think and to strike than Charles Ollivon, who dotted that one down.
I think there's going to be a lot to look at here. There was knock-on after knock-on. There was attempted kicks, maybe getting charged down. Again, the Italians trying to play their way out. It's obviously a tactic. It's a loose ball. They gather it, then they try another kick.
Yeah, no worries.
To clear their lines, when probably just taking it in is the right option. Yeah, I think this is going to be given. I think it's a great ball from Willemser on the line to Ollivon, and he gets the ball down for the try.
France showing real opportunism to score on the 15-minute mark. We're going to head up to the TMO, so we'll take a listen to Ben Whitehouse now and his conversation with Matt Carley.
Okay.
Will France's second score stand?
So he loses control, never presses down on the ball, knock on in goal, goal line dropout. Okay,
well, to the horror.
That is no try. It's a knock on, no try. Goal line dropout.
To the horror of the French fans here in Rome. Charles Ollivon's score has been struck out. Your thoughts, Danny Kerr?
Oh, I called it wrong. I thought it looked like he got some downward pressure, but
Time still off.
it seems he said there was no downward pressure at all. He knocked it on and then maybe a millisecond later put the ball down with his hands. So yeah, desperately disappointed for Olivon and the French there, but a lifeline for the Italians, because giving away a try there would have been really, really bad.
Italy then with a goal line dropout. They find Olivon, the man who's just had 5 points gifted to and plucked away from him. And France come again. It is just wave after wave of blue jerseys so far this afternoon. 15 metres in from the far touchline. Dupont spins it to Untermatt. Cute inside ball to the try scorer Flamand. His white scrum cap pinwheeling through the tackles of the Italians.
Let it go now, Blue, let it go!
There's a meaty challenge for that ball. It's been stripped. Italy turn it over. They really are edging the arm wrestle on the floor today. Capozzo, ball to Allen, drops it to his boot.
Come out.
And it lands just inside the French half. Ramos fizzes it to Untermatt, back to Ramos, a 1-2 between the French fly half and full-back. Marchand. Moefana, the first time we've said his name this afternoon. I think we might say it a few more times. Lovely footwork through contact there by the young inside centre. Made his debut for France on just his 6th ever appearance in international senior rugby. Demi Penaud gets a chance to stretch his legs, but Allen does brilliantly to strip the ball. We're just on the cusp of the Italian 22. It's been knocked on. Helter-skelter stuff.
It really is. It's end-to-end. There's loads going on. What I love about the French is when they make a little bit of an impact, they don't then just think, right, let's fizz it wide. They'll play on top. Cyril Bayo, or they'll have Antonio just hanging around the ruck just to play momentum on momentum. And then they run out of numbers, the Italians in defence, and Penaud stretches him with a wide, but then another forced offload or a little bit of a strip, I think, from Tommaso Allen there, and the Italians earn the scrum.
But not an early push. Thank you.
17 minutes gone at Stadio Olimpico in Rome. It's still, as you like, gorgeous quick track, and we are seeing that in the resplendent rugby. Italy 3, France 7, up thanks to that Thibaut Flamand score.
Bind.
Early doors, but now
Set.
the big men get to work. Fischetti, Nicotera, Ferrari, by Marchand, Antonio, the 2 front rows. Big men asking big questions of one another in the Italian sunshine, and France draw the penalty.
I think he looks happy, Antonio, there with his work.
It's a furrowed brow, but you're right, he'll be pretty chuffed to have drawn a penalty there. And Untermatt hoofs it downfield. France will have an attacking line out, the first one of those we've seen this afternoon. How do you think they'll play this one?
I think a lot of their tries in last year's Six Nations, I think 8 out of 17 tries, I might be wrong with my stats there, came from the line out. So it's a massive weapon for them. I'd imagine it's going to be a driving ball. They're going to keep it tight because they're brilliant at it.
Well, Danny's looked into his crystal ball and he's read it very well. Marchand picked out Aldrit, and France now 5 metres in, 7 or 8 metres out, heads down, legs pumping. A pack, a blue shirted pack on a mission. Ficou takes it in, places it backwards, it's fizzed out. The ruck speed is electric. Untermatt with a crossfield kick. Capozzo reads it well, classered in the contact, but saves Italy's blushes there. Or does he?
On first look,
So we've got grounding by Blues.
the referee here.
Try. We want to check the contest.
First look, I think it's a try. I think, unfortunately, Ons Capozzo has knocked this on in goal on the chase with Penaud, and then Ramos has just dotted it down for a try. I mean, it was a great kick.
On-field try, checking the contest in the air, and then we'll play it through to the grounding as well.
Brendan Untermatt probably didn't need to kick it. He's just showing off his skills. He says, if Marcus Smith can do it yesterday, I'll do it. I'll do the same.
Well, Penaud and Ramos celebrated it as though it were a try, as we see replays now of Ons Capozzo leaping for the ball and inarguably knocking it forwards with no cover option in defence.
It's a really tough one there. It's a 50-50. It's one of those. Ons Capozzo has just got to make the ball his. He goes with it with one hand. He probably needs to go with it with two to make sure he manages to knock it, but he knocks it backwards. Unfortunately, it's not Menoncello who gets there. It's Thomas Ramos who gets there for the try.
As you can hear from the boos ringing out in Rome, the crowd do not like what they're
So it never
seeing.
touches blue at that point, Matt.
Yeah.
And we're just going to run it through to the ground.
Check the ground in.
Just a grounding to be checked. France might well have their second right on the cusp of the 20-minute mark. It is a beautiful gazelle-like leap from the Italian fullback. And actually,
Okay, Matt,
looking at Ramos's
Do you want me to
grounding,
jump
it's
in here to help
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
fingertip
So the
stuff.
contest in the air is fine. There's no contact from blue with the ball, and then the grounding's fine as well.
Grounding's
stay
fine.
with your
Yeah,
please. Izzy.
okay. That's a try. Try.
The try is awarded. Les Bleus have their second in Italy. Italy 3, France 12, with the conversion
They
to
lift
come.
and hold in the air, then I will give a free kick.
From the replays and the angles we saw there, it didn't look awfully different to Olivon's grounding, but the try's been given. The Italian fans, there was a few boos there at the whistle. Matt Carley's used to that.
Ramos tosses some grass into the air, just adjusting his jersey. He's 10 metres in from the touchline, just outside the 22. And a sort of disrespectful semi-harsh falls around the Stadio Olimpico. He pulls it wide. 2 points gone begging there. 19 minutes played, Italy 3, France 12 still. The final match of the first round of the Six Nations here on Sports Extra. I'm Claire Thomas alongside Danny Kerr.
Straight to the ground.
Danny, a quarter of the match gone. You said how important it was for Italy to have a good start. What will they make of it?
Yeah, they haven't had that. Yeah, 12-3 down. The French, you know, should have been 19-3 if Olivon had got the ball down.
Use it!
The French, look, I think the difference is, you see the French here, they take one ruck and they bang the ball as far as they can and kick the ball out 45 metres away from their goal. The Italians have invited so much pressure by trying to play out, which you've got to award and reward it and say we like to see it. We like to see a bit of attacking play, but against the best team, second best team in the world, but in my opinion, the best team in the world, play some territory, play some field position, put it back behind in the French half, and they haven't done that yet.
Nicotera, who has been pinpoint so far this afternoon, the Italian hooker, finds his man.
Once!
But the drive in response from the French is ferocious, and they have to use it, the Italians. It's through the hands of Morisi. Here is Allen, manages to free his hands and pop it up to Brex, the Argentinian-born outside centre. Grew up in Buenos Aires, played under 20s for the Pumas, but now wearing an Italian jersey. Oh, lovely free-flowing rugby for the Italians. Capuzzo on a direct line. It's offload city here in Rome. Ruzzo, ball in one hand, snagged by Dupont. There's a mismatch right there, right before the post on the 22. Italy go again. The crowd are in full voice. Now they're having fun. Allen delays the pass, floats it over the top. Ruzzo again, ball in one hand. It's like an apple to the towering Italian figure. Will come back for the advantage. Just the glimpse there at what Italy can do when they reach out a hand and bang the big red entertainment button.
Brilliant Italian flair and play here. The hard lines from the forwards and the speed that they've got out the back. And Tommaso Allen's one of the best at inviting the defences on him and then throwing balls over the top and picking out the right options. They get a penalty here under the sticks, and I imagine they're going to take the 3, but I think the Italian fans would like to see this sort of play in the French half, probably not in their own half. But this is great.
Difference.
It's hard running and it's great lines.
Tommaso Allen, the orchestrator of that lovely delayed pass, now with the opportunity to narrow the gap to 6 here. It's a much more straightforward kick than his first one, as he just sets the ball down. We suspect the hush that he receives will be a little more quiet than the one that Tomo Ramos received down the other end. A sway on the spot, a swing of the arms. It's right before the post, this. It's just about the distance. And he really has brought his kicking boots all the way from southwest London, Alan. That's 6 points for the fly half, and Italy find themselves just 6 points behind here. 23 minutes played. Yet to score a try, but narrowing the gap on the reigning Six Nations champs.
Yeah, the Italians just do what they need to do. Get in the other end of the field, take your opportunities, narrow that gap, and just never know. If you stay within one score of the French, you just never know in rugby.
Although gone are the days that we used to talk about the French pulling a French and tripping themselves up, creating banana skins all by themselves. This is a French team who know what it takes to win. In 13 unbeaten matches, they do not come from nothing. The gasp there was from a charge down by Antoine Dupont.
20, scrum 5.
On the cusp of the Italian 22. How many charge downs have we seen so far today?
Yeah, we've seen a few. Yeah, again, Tommaso Allen probably takes a little bit too much time to get the ball. When you've got someone like Antoine Dupont chasing, you've got to get that ball away quickly. You won't see not many teams at international level especially will kick off 10, because you're throwing the ball back 10 metres to then kick it. That's why the French do it very, I'd say, a lot more pragmatically. They kick off their scrum half. England did it a lot yesterday.
22.
I think they're just working out what the ball is. It's going to be a 22-metre kickoff for the Italians, but again, the Italians just inviting more pressure, unneeded pressure.
Just wait, time's off. Okay, time on.
Matthew Carley, our referee, gets things up and running. 24 minutes played, 6 points the difference. Allen hoofs it long. It's into the French half. Untermack catches that one, picks out Aldrit in the centre of the field. Led La Rochelle to that famous Champions Cup victory last season and is at his rampaging best. An absolute menace at Franklin's Gardens a couple of weeks ago in the Champions Cup. But then this is a French team full of menaces. Here goes Dupont down the blind side, finds Damien Penaud, who drops it onto his prolific boots. Allen finds himself on litter picking duty and does very well to gather the grubber back onto the cusp of the Italian 22. Will they look to run it again, knowing the dangers, knowing that France are pouncing upon everything right now?
Ball is out. Taken in.
No, Varney chips it over the top. Danny Kerr has his head in his hands alongside me. Ball up towards the halfway line. Untermack, 20 metres in from that far touchline. Just about brought down by Maurici. Quick ball again by Dupont. Ramos playing at fly half for the moment, and at first receiver Aldrit has the ball, but it just trickles from his hands. Italy turn it over thanks to a handling error from the French. They're on their 22, 15 metres in. The ball's loose, now it's plucked by the French. It's possession ping pong here in Rome. Olivon has it, France 10 metres out. Here's the débutant, Dumortier, placing it backwards. Dupont finds Marchand, adds a meaty chug. Dupont again, Flamand, Ramos fizzes it out, the speed of that pass. Untermack finds Penaud on his wing. There's a white jersey reception committee waiting and they drive him backwards, but France come again and again. 15 metres out, 10 metres in from that far touchline. They smell blood. Fabien Galtier's men searching for a third try inside half an hour. Untermack with another crossfield kick. It's down into the bottom left-hand corner. Dumortier gathers it and will score on debut. Welcome to the big time, young man. What a way to mark your first outing in the jersey of your country of birth. France with a third score.
This is an unbelievable bit of skill for Romain Untermack. It is pinpoint accuracy. You can see they've obviously been working at this in training, the crossfield kicks. The Italians flooding the front line, leaving space in the backfield, and you can't cover it. I just think the Italians have been a little bit naive here. A couple of times at the breakdown, the ball's been out. They've tried to do little grubber kicks and little roller kicks over the top of breakdowns in their own 22, and you give the most lethal backline in world rugby at the minute opportunities to score in your own 22. They're going to take them, and a world-class try, a world-class finish from and a great kick from Romain Untermack.
Dumortier, just 22 years old. He's currently the top try scorer in the top 14, 8 scores in 11 outings. He had some sizable boots to fill today. Gabin Villiers is the regular left winger for the French. He's out at the moment with an injured ankle. He's got a hat-trick against Italy this time last year, but the youngster is slotting in just fine. And speaking of slotting, there's 2 more points courtesy of Thomas Ramos. He brings France's tally up to 19. 2 converted tries and 1 where the conversion didn't quite go according to plan, but they lead Italy by 13 now with less than half an hour played.
I admire the Italians trying something a little bit different. They're trying to run out from their own 22. I just think that if you're going to do that, you have to be accurate. and currently they haven't been, and the French are making them pay.
Accuracy was a word that we heard across all the coverage yesterday. Scotland, accurate. Ireland, accurate. And today, the Italians...
Line up on Nick, guys.
Just...
Inaccurate.
There we go, the word I was looking for. Thank you very much, Danny.
Yeah, at this level, accuracy is everything. And if you're not, and you're up against the good teams, the best teams will make you pay. And the French are showing here that they'll be licking their lips, saying, "Keep trying it, keep trying it." Sean Edwards, I'm sure in the stands will be loving life at the moment.
Nicotera. For the first time, France turn Italy over at the line out. It's through the hands of the back rowers, and now to the speedsters. Here is Moefana. Penaud has it, but he's tipped over. Ntamak. Back the other way, France go just outside their own 22, looking to do an Italy and run it out. It's Ficou, but he's bundled up, and it's slow, ponderous ball at the ruck for Dupont.
You see the difference here, though, Claire. The French, they don't mess around. They know when it's not on to go. Antoine Dupont will call them in, and he'll kick the ball. And they have a great chase, 13 men in the front line, make a tackle, put them under pressure.
And they call the scrum half Le Petit Général in French, and it's for exactly that sort of management of the game. But Italy have another penalty in at the side. France pinged. Italy might be inaccurate, but France remain ill-disciplined.
They do, and it's something that the French have got a lot better at the last few years. They haven't been giving away the needless penalties. And no disrespect to the Italians, against the tougher teams, against the Irelands and the Scotlands and the Englands of this Six Nations, if you give away that many penalties, you give away field position, you give opponents opportunities to score tries, and the Italians need to take one here. They need to get 3 or hopefully 5 or 7 points before half-time here to get back in the game.
Well, Antonio is just receiving a little bit of attention from the French medics, which means that everybody has a chance to get their breath back, because it has been a roller coaster so far.
Need a head injury assessment? No?
It has, and I think today and yesterday have shown the Guinness Six Nations is the best tournament in the world. It really is. Nothing brings excitement like it. And even today, the Italians, you look at it, the French, you go, the French should win. But you just never know. You never know. They sprung 2 upsets last year.
Blue on the line there,
they can always dream, and this is great. It's great rugby, and rugby's needed it. Rugby's needed the Six Nations to come along at the most. It's been a bit of a strange place, and this is just, I think, everybody's excitement levels are back on.
Couldn't have put it better myself. It's time to let the rugby do the talking, and it is absolutely screaming and shouting here in Rome. Nicotera picks out Nicolo Canone at the line out. Italy, for the first time with the ball in their own hands in the French 22. Now we see some patience. It's quick ball, but they are letting the phases add up. Ruzzo with a fend like a piston to make some yards. Back the other way they go, 10 metres out from that far touchline. Allen with the carry, just about gets it back to Varney. An advantage. Italy have the insurance policy. They've got a free hit here, and they're 10 metres out. The ball's back in the pocket. Crossfield kick, but it is wild. And that opportunity goes begging.
Number 8.
Yeah, lovely interplay from the Italians. I mean, I sound like a broken record here, but this is the place to play it.
Second go.
They play 2 or 3 quick phases round the corner, win some battles, and then go on a reverse, kind of like a 31 pattern, they say. 3 one way, 1 the other. And they come back and try and pick off some of the lazy defenders. The French defended that quite well, but again, discipline let them down. Thomas Sowell in here with a chance to maybe, because it's close to the touchline, drive the Italians 5 metres out with an opportunity. And he's gone for 7 metres out. And his coach doesn't look happy with that kick.
Kieran Crowley up on the big screen in the stadium, absolutely livid with that one. And there is really no excuse when you're that close. It's got to be a 5 metre line out.
Yeah, I'll have a words with him. I'll show him a couple of weeks in training when he's back. You don't kick like that, Tommaso.
Nicotera 2 metres further out than he should be, but with the line out, picks out Captain Lamaro. The maul is formed. It's going nowhere quickly. Gears are grinding. There's plenty of coal being shoveled on the fire, but France's maul defence stopping Italy in their tracks. Varney down the blind side. Capuzzo, a step. If he's got that down, that is a remarkable piece of footwork. Ange Capuzzo does it again. A remarkable moment from a remarkable young player. We're going to head up to the TMO, but it looks as though he might just have got that down. And Italy's golden child, possibly with their first score of this year's Six Nations.
Yeah, if this is given, and we hope it is, we've just seen a replay here. Ange Capuozzo, he gets his feet in the air. It's a brilliant try. It's a brilliant try. And when we do get to see a replay here, Stephen Varney, the scrum half, can take it down because he's spotting the French defenders are overfolding on the open side, leaving the blind side open for himself and one of the most dangerous young lads in world rugby at the moment, Ange Capuozzo, to exploit. And he puts him in for a try.
It's laughably good.
It's really good.
They say that it's a cliche in all sports that players could beat you in a phone box. I reckon Ange Capuozzo could beat you on a phone book.
Just on the letter A.
So Tommaso Allen lining up a touchline conversion. He's looking to put it round to the left, but it just drifts to the wide of the uprights. But a first score for the Italians. The gap narrows to 8 here in Rome. They trail the French 11 points to 19. And things here with our live coverage on 5 Sports Extra are just starting to hot up.
It's a wonderful finish. You get to see that on YouTube later. Gets his right hand on the ball over the line before his left hand goes into the touchline. Gregory Aldridge, I feel sorry for him. It's a number 15 on a number 8. But a great try for the Italians. And they've dropped the restart.
Okay, knock on advantage.
The cardinal sin.
Advantage over.
It's the third set piece. You've got to get it right, but it bounces from the restart. France have the ball straight away, a chance to strike back. It's Ntamack belying his slight frame with a meaty carry, but it's just about knocked on. Italy have the scrum and get away with one there.
Yeah, it's frustrating as an Italian fan. You'd say whatever you would need to do, you score a try, you catch the restart. It's the most infuriating thing. And then I'd imagine Fabien Gaultier is feeling exactly the same. Great field position again. Romain Ntamack makes half a little break, forces an offload, and just again relieves some pressure. The Italians with an opportunity to exit now, but they'll probably run it from their own half and knock it on, and the French will score.
It's almost as though Fiji have managed to get themselves Italian kits for the afternoon and had a go. They're out joueing the French.
I sound like I don't like to see it. I love seeing this type of play.
Yeah, who are you and what have you done with Danny Kerr?
What's happened to me? Play for Harlequins, jeez, that's all we do.
Varney with the push in. Italy right on their 22, 5 metres out from this near touchline. The ball's out quickly. Bruno juggles it but keeps hold of it. Here is Brex. And here again is Capuozzo, but Fickou, the defensive lead of this French side, does very well to bring down the prodigious young fullback, Allen. Finds Rutzer again. The lock forward has been busy this afternoon, such an industrious player. Captains Benetton when he's not representing Italy.
Ball is available.
And they're 15 metres in from that far touchline. It's back in the pocket, Allen. So the delight of Danny Kerr hoofs it downfield into the 22 to Ramos.
Onside.
He's got a cannon of a right boost on him. Keeps it in field. Capuozzo now assessing his options. Drops it onto his right foot, dinks it over the top, 10 metres in from the far touchline, just inside the French half. Ntamack diffuses it. Ramos kicks it back exactly the way it just came. It might well trickle into touch. Oh, the bounce of a rugby ball is unkind sometimes. It stays in field, but Allen with plenty to do right before the posts now.
Touch.
Italy have to clear it. Ramos, centre of the field. Now Dupont assessing his options. Finds Ramos, quick ball to Dumortier, try scorer just moments ago. The debutant scampering, dancing. A veritable Strictly audition from the winger. Dupont again. Ramos before the post. Satonio, Ntamack. Lovely linking between the forwards and the backs. The French and Fickou stabs through an interrogative grubber. It trickles into touch. And the French high five. That's a huge territory gain.
I mean, we're looking at an opposite game to what we saw in the England-Scotland game from yesterday. When England got the ball in their own half, they kicked the ball straight away, and there was a lot of kick tennis, whereas the Italians have obviously said, with Ange Capuozzo at fullback, if you kind of kick loosely and I can get to the halfway line, I'm running the ball back. He tries a little chip over, it doesn't quite work here, and the French on another day, if that ball sits up, they've got a bonus point already in the first half.
Italy with the line out. 10 metres away from their own try line. They have to get this one right.
The space is closing, but you're setting too big. I've asked once, please just a metre. Hold your space regardless, please. Mark, thank you. Stay there.
Matthew Carley unhappy, the referee, with the setup of that line-out. But there is now a new directive to speed up the getting into line-outs. Do you think we'll see a few more of those?
I think we will, and I couldn't agree more. I think hopefully gone are the days of these huddles where teams take 60 seconds to catch a breath and make the perfect call. I think we want to see rugby with fatigue. We want to see people being able to make decisions clearly under pressure, and when you give teams so much time, it takes the flow and the momentum out of the game, and the fans don't want to see it. And as players, we don't want to play like that either.
Penalty going against the French once again.
On the line-up.
Offside off the back of that breakdown. So Italy with a little more time to clear their lines.
They move.
Again, the French discipline. Like I said, it might not hurt them in this game. They might get away with it, but later on in the tournament, these are the type of penalties they've got to stop giving away.
Next week against Ireland in Dublin, that will certainly butter no parsnips.
And Ireland are one of the best off-set pieces. Their attacking play is exceptional at the moment, world's #1 team. So if they give them opportunities, Ireland will punish them.
Nicotera, how many times we've said his name already this afternoon. The Italian hooker, it is messy off the line out. Marchand is able to pounce, but again, French coming unstuck when it comes to discipline. Italy have another penalty. 38 minutes played, they trailed by just 6. This is not the afternoon that the French would have scripted for themselves.
No, and clearly, Olivon jumping across the line out, it's a clear penalty. Some of the French supporters in the crowd not happy, but Matt Carley referring it how he sees it, and yeah, real discipline. Another opportunity for the Italians to go, what, a point behind? They could be a point behind come half-time, which you'd never have seen that.
France have conceded 8 penalties already this afternoon. We all know the magic number in rugby is 10, and we'll keep it single figures.
Yeah, 8 in 38 minutes isn't great. That is not a stat they'll be happy with at half-time.
1 minute to go in the first half of Italy's 2023 Six Nations campaign. They ended the last one with the bang to end all bangs in Cardiff. Could an upset be on the cards here in Rome? They're 10 metres out, 10 metres in. Lorenzo Cannone, the young number 8, grabs a couple of extra yards on the floor there. Varney fishes it out, looks to go again, pick and goes. Patient repeated efforts. Rutzer places it backwards, Varney. Now this is Negri with a carry there. 3 metres out, the Italians right before the posts. They know the significance of this. This would change the complexion of this game in a moment. Brex, ball's bound around the back. Allen hit as he goes to pass that out the back door, doesn't manage it, so the ball is down. Italy going backwards again before the posts, but on the cusp of accessing their own 22. So fierce was that French defence. Italy go again. Here is Brex with the carry. Little tip pass onto Negri. Now they're 10 metres out once more. Allen looks to go down the blind side, spins through the approach of Ficou. Varney again down the blind side. They go Negri.
Thank you.
Meets the immovable duo of Jelonch and Antonio. But again, Italy come. 13 phases now. Nicotera with a carry. Over the ball is Fischetti in support. Varney has it now. He's wrapped up by Aldrit and Ficou.
No.
What a sandwich that is. Brex back the other way. Here is Cannone, Nicolo Cannone, the big brother once more. Italy with the advantage, Italy with the penalty. And Matt Carley will call in the French skipper.
Is not good enough. You know what my next stage is if it carries on down here. Please speak to them.
Clear words there from Matt Carley. The next penalty, I think, that the French give away, someone will be going into the sin bin, and the Italians and Tommaso Allen with an opportunity here to go to 14-19. And the way that this game has gone, you would have put Italy way behind the French, but 9 penalties in the first half now. You're going to get punished at international level.
Being an optimist, thrilling to see Italy come out the blocks like this up against France, as Allen knocks that one over, adds another 3. It was a straightforward kick, but he made absolutely sure of it. Being a pessimist, Italy were right in it against the Springboks in Genoa in November, right up until about the 50-minute mark. And then the cavalry was summoned, the big box came off the bench, and that one ended as a rout. What do you make of the two benches? What do you think of Italy's staying power as they go in at half-time just 5 points behind?
I mean, we've seen this so many times with an Italian team, especially at home, that at half-time they're within a score or two. It's happened with it against England in the previous few years, that they're in the game and then suddenly towards the end of the game, when they get a little bit tired, the bench comes on and it doesn't add, and the opposition team's bench do add. For the French, obviously Antoine Dupont's the best player in the world. But Le Garec, who plays for Racing 92, I've played against him a few times recently as a scrum half. He's a young kid who can run. He is fast. He's tall, he's rangy, and he's fast, and he exploits tired defenders. So the Italians have just got to stay in the fight, but the French will come firing, and the last 20 minutes will be really tough.
Well, things very finely poised here at the Stadio Olimpico. What a narrow margin we have found ourselves with. Just goes to show the game is not played on paper. Commentary from myself and Danny Kerr of the second half to come shortly here on 5 Sports Extra. But first of all, let's get some more reaction to that sensational win for Scotland at Twickenham yesterday from the latest Rugby Union Daily podcast with Chris Jones.
England 23, Scotland 29, a game for the ages. Johnny Beattie, former Scotland flanker, number 8, all-round back row supremo, is with us. Matt Dawson, former England captain. The party is going on outside. We just moved into our little room next to the commentary gantry, Johnny. A lot of Scotland fans have seen something very special today. I was going to say again, they weren't there 2 years ago. This one must be extra sweet.
Even more special. And that was it. They did it here in front of an empty stadium during COVID. That was their first win here since 1983. And they've now gone back to back, which is a ridiculously big achievement. When you look at the resource and the player numbers between the two countries, that achievement and winning here and starting the Six Nations with a Six Nations Calcutta Cup win is absolutely huge. So a massive win for us.
Steve Borthwick coming up on the pod. Gregor Townsend as well. Loads to get into after one of the games of the, a game for the ages. I thought that 38 all in 2019 would take some bettering, but I thought that was a spectacular game of rugby. Matt Dawson, 2009, England, 2010 draw, 11 England, 12 England, 13 England, 14 England, 15 England, 16 England, 17 England. That's the Calcutta Cup in that period. Then it went 2018 Scotland, draw 19, England in 20, and then 21 Scotland, 22 Scotland, 23 Scotland.
Yeah, there's no question. It's more of a Scottish improvement than an England demise. I think Scotland, it's been remarkable, whether it's just Gregor Townsend's tenure, but certainly Gregor has made a huge difference to the way that Scotland not only play, because Scotland were always that team that, were bringing in that wide energy, didn't quite have the forward pack to match. But now they've got more of an all-round team, and we knew, everyone was talking about, we all knew it was going to be a tight game. I thought there were moments where England actually played all right today, given the injuries that they'd had, new coach, not a lot of time together. I thought, okay, not too bad. What worried me is the same old stuff from Matt Dawson, is how are England going to close out these big games that they need to win when it's tight? It's all well and good that we keep, as England fans, referring back to World Cup semi-finals and against New Zealand, where they're in control for pretty much the game and were ahead, had a great day. But too many times England have got themselves into positions, and there were today. There was that
2012 up.
There was that little moment. Yeah, I was going to say there was an 8-point difference, and I think you said in comms, next score crucial here. Imagine if it just went with England and it was a 15-point gap. You're like, oh, hold on a minute here. This is a big mountain to climb. But England again don't know how to do it. I'm sure it's a player thing. It can't be the coaches. It can't be. No, you think it's the coaching?
I think Johnny's wondering why we're talking England.
No.
He moved on to England.
I thought some of what we saw from England was fabulous. I thought, your starting props. I thought Sinclair got through a power of work. I thought Ellis Genge was phenomenal. I think he had 17 carries before he went off the field. He was pivotal in one of the tries in playing basically in the second line of attack and setting up your back line to go over it. But there's certain bits when you talk about philosophy or strategy that dictated to by coaching setups. There's certain bits that I ask questions. So line out structure and choice, for instance, the front was free every time you took it down the front, which meant you never went from middle or back ball, which meant that a Scottish back line or our defensive line could come up and shut you down really quickly.
And what was Scotland doing?
Mixing it up.
Yeah, and like those long ones over the back,
bit of variation,
or taking it off the
keeping
top,
you
which
guessing.
causes chaos with the opposition.
But that's it. Gregor is organised chaos, and I thought a lot of what England did was a little bit safe, and that facilitated Scotland's defensive effort. It got us on the front foot, allowed us to dominate, shut things down, and then when you didn't get a dominant carry, of which there weren't many dominant carriers, especially when your two leading props went off, it became a little bit comfortable for us.
You think they would see that? I can't argue with the numbers of carries. I'd be fascinated to know what the meterage was, because yes, I saw the ball in Sinclair's and Genge's hands a lot, but I didn't see them making great busting runs. It was just another phase and another phase and another phase, a yard here, couple of yards there, or maybe on the gain line. Saying that's how England scored their try, by going through 10, 15, 20 phases, opposition running out of defensive ideas.
Coming on a clever angle, didn't it? Just mixing it up a little bit, the point of attack for both the Malin's try
both
and the
Malin's tries.
Yeah.
And they, not to say they were walk-ins, but they were big overlaps that they finished really nicely. Which again, I think is really, really encouraging, and it's sort of, for the first time, we can see where England, what the game plan is, which I quite like. But to Johnny's point, you're playing against Scotland at home, you'd like to think that England are going to dominate a little bit more.
Let's hear from both coaches now. Been down in the tunnel. Steve Borthwick in a moment, but first, here's the victorious Scotland boss, Gregor Townsend.
Gregor, you've done it again, back to back, 3 in a row for the first time since the 1970s. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels great, obviously. To not play our best rugby too, and come stronger into the game, score a brilliant try. I don't think I've actually seen it in the replay because I was busy getting messages on about what we do off the kickoff. But it felt like a wonderful try. It deserved to win a game. So it's a great way of starting the tournament. Getting the 4 tries as well gives us an opportunity, but that opportunity lasts a week, and we have to play better next week, because at times today we didn't put our best performance out there, and England dominated a lot of possession, but we did enough, and we had ambition that second half to look for those tries, and we got them.
Yeah, you talk about ambition. You scored 4 great tries. We could pick apart any of them. They're all brilliant in their own right. But the final one, that composure, backs and forwards, interlinking, to win a game at a place like Twickenham, how satisfying is that for a coach?
Hugely satisfying to see the players get their rewards and their efforts. We were talking at half-time about more energy into our game. I think that when it became that kick tennis battle, it didn't suit us. And there were opportunities within that to do more. We had a breakaway in the middle of the second half, which we could have led to a try. I think we had 3 players on 1. So that was probably the confidence the players got, and Fenn in particular, to move that ball to those wide channels. And we've got dangerous runners out there that cause a lot of damage.
2 years ago you won and broke the hoodoo at Twickenham, but it was in front of nobody. Now it's in front of a load of Scotland fans who have probably come down to Twickenham a fair bit and not seen this. For those fans who are here, it must feel extra sweet.
Absolutely. And I thought there was thousands there today. That's the loudest I've heard Flower of Scotland sung at Twickenham. I was here a number of times as a player, and we didn't win. And yeah, it will be the first time since '83 since we've had supporters since we've got a win, and it's great. Our supporters have stuck with us. When we lost to New Zealand in the autumn, hundreds of them stayed out after the game just to cheer the players on. So there's a real connection between our supporters and our players, and we know when we play our best, we can take on any team in the world. But we now know when we're even off our best, we can stay in the fight. give ourselves chances to win. And it was great to see them taking that today.
Great speech. Well done, Greg. A nice one.
Thank you.
I'm now joined by the England boss, Steve Borthwick. Steve, a great game. Your players gave it everything. Just falling short. How do you reflect on it?
I reflect on. I think everybody who'd watch that game would say a phenomenal encounter. Two tough teams that went higher, and there wasn't much in it. And unfortunately, we're on the wrong side of the scoreboard. I think there were some things that we'd look at and say we did well, and we saw improvement. There's some areas where we made a few errors, and what we're going to do improve for next week.
In terms of the errors, the odd drop ball, the odd missed tackle, how easy is that to fix?
Yeah, well, I think ultimately, Scotland didn't have too many opportunities, but what they did is they took those opportunities very well. Now, what we've got to do is make sure we limit those chances and make sure we shut them down when they do get them. I think ultimately they scored a little bit too easily. Now, for us, we've got to understand how we gave those opportunities, and we've got to tighten up a couple of areas. But I think ultimately, we also saw an England team that started looking more dangerous with the ball in hand.
And in terms of improvement, Italy come next Sunday. Will it be hard to pick the lads up, knowing that you've lost the first game, but still so much rugby to play in this championship?
I think I look at the players there, and they're determined to be better next week. They care so deeply about this team, care deeply about the England rugby team. I thought today we got great support from the fans, and what we're going to do is make sure we improve in those areas we need to, and be a better side next week.
Thanks so much for joining us, Steve. Thank you.
How was it living next to Mr. Palmer's house?
I mean, we had a bomb go off in their garage, which was quite frightening.
I'm Livy Haydock, and this is Gangster, the explosive story of John Palmer, a godfather figure born out of the crime of the century. He built an empire in the sun, scamming tens of thousands of innocent people.
I said, "Who are you?" And he went, "I'm John Palmer." You're the con man who's taken all my money then, are you?
A scam that ultimately turned bloody.
When people started to complain, Palmer sent in violent men.
Gangster, the story of John Palmer. Listen now on BBC Sounds.
Welcome back to our 5 Sports Extra coverage of Italy against France being played out at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. Currently, the wooden spoon holders, Italy, are only 5 points adrift over the Grand Slam champions France, 14 points to 19. I'm Claire Thomas. It's a pleasure to have your company and to be alongside England and Harlequins legend Danny Kerr. Danny, I was hoping you could take me back to the Six Nations launch, because I know you were there, and so too was an immaculately dressed French head coach Fabien Galtier.
Firstly, yeah, great to be here. It was a crazy day, that launch day. I'd never seen anything like it. So many people in one room, and I'll be honest, a lot of people asking very similar questions to the captains and the players, and they were a little bit bored. I was there actually with TikTok that day, so we were doing some rather strange things with a few people. But
did I see you eating crisps at some point?
Yeah, I had to eat a snack from each country. I had to rate them. So the crisps from Ireland actually were incredible.
Potatoes, right? Yeah, they're amazing.
If they're listening and want to send me any, then please do, because I could have been there all day. But Fabien Galtier, he looked incredible. I know this sounds strange, but he was impeccably dressed. All the coaches were. But Fabien Galtier, in his style, with the glasses that he wears, and he rocked it with some white trainers with a suit.
Box fresh white trainers.
Really, really fresh, proper box fresh. He looked great, and he looked confident, and he looked like a man that was going to go back-to-back Grand Slams. But having seen the first half of what I've seen, they need to stop giving away penalties, otherwise teams are going to punish them.
So for those of you just joining us, a little recap on what we've seen so far. The French did get out the blocks the fastest. Thibaut Flamand charging down an Italian exit kick and flying over. Thomas Ramos, the fullback for France, we know he's metronomic off the tee, and so he is proving this afternoon. They then had another score from the debutant Dumartier. Ramos adding a try of his own, of course. But the Dumartier score, actually, Danny, let's just talk about that, because Romain Ntamack has been injured. He's been away for months, but he's back, and it's like he's never been away. That crossfield kick was pinpoint.
Yeah, he's a wonderful looking player, and I mean that on and off the pitch. He looks great, and his performances on it, he never looks flustered. For a relatively young lad who's played a lot of rugby now, but he just looks so at home at international rugby. He had all the time in the world there to just put the perfect kick. It looked so simple, but believe me, that's a very hard skill to put it on the money with the right trajectory, with the right amount of pace. And he's tried a couple. They've obviously seen that, I think, probably in the week, that the Italians are defending quite high with lots of men in the front line. There's some space in the backfield, but to execute that under the pressure is showing why he is one of the best fly halves in the world.
Well, he was busy winning an under-20 World Championship back in 2018. He's got his eyes on the big one, the Big Boys Trophy this autumn. He'll be at the heart of the French side, looking to win a World Cup in their own backyard. But first things first, there's again a Six Nations to play, and the teams are back out on the pitch. About 12 degrees here in Rome. The sun is starting to dip a little bit, but it's still perfect conditions for running rugby. And Danny, we have seen a lot of running rugby. Would you like to see Italy dial that back a bit, perhaps?
See, I feel awful saying this because I'm the biggest advocate of going for it and playing what you see and having a crack. I think the Italians just need to be a bit careful, and they've been caught out a couple of times by playing a little bit too much, too deep. And if you're going to do that, well, the one thing you have to be accurate. You have to put the ball on the money, because if you don't, you're up against the second best team in the world. As I said earlier, for me, the best team in the world at broken field rugby. You give them opportunities to score in your 22, they are so clinical. So I'd just say just limit the opportunities a little bit more, play a little bit more pragmatic, but when they come into the 22, when they're in that red zone, do what the Italians do, show some flair.
It's a pretty packed stadium here in Rome, and we're seeing some signs being waved around, some homemade signs featuring the name of one Ange Capozzo, their mercurial young fullback. His score, I think he saw Duhan van der Merwe's effort yesterday in the Calcutta Cup and thought, oh yeah, all right, I'll have a go at something similar.
It's a wonderful finish. He's picked off a bit of a mismatch. It's back on a forward in a small channel, but the dexterity he shows to get the ball down was incredible.
And Samak then, a good-looking man, as Danny Kerr just described him, getting us back underway, sending the ball deep into the Italian half. The French now playing from left to right, the Italians right to left. The visitors all in blue and the hosts in white and navy. Flag detailing everywhere you look on that kit. Capozzo on clearance duties. Sends the ball just up to the halfway line on this near touchline.
Yeah, thank you.
And after a few shaky restarts from the Italians, I'll be pleased to have eased the pressure there.
Yeah, maybe they've listened to the commentary, and they've at half time Kieran Crowley's just played in a bit of 5 Live commentary, because they still were looking like they were going to play, but I think they chose the right option. They didn't kick it as far as I'd like, to be honest. I think they'd be better off doing a box kick, but they've given the French a good opportunity here in some good field position.
Marchand's throw at the line out finds Flamand, and France find themselves right on the Italian 22. 14-19 the score. You're listening on Sports Extra. I'm Claire Thomas. I'm alongside Danny Kerr. This is the final match of the first round of this year's Six Nations. It's Jelonche, try scorer in this fixture last year, who tips it on. France going nowhere quickly, just flexing their muscles. Picks and goes on the outskirts of the Italian 22, and here is one from Gregory Aldrich, the number 8. A black scrum cap leading the way as he carries a couple of Italian bodies with him. Dupont picks out Penaud on the wing, and all of a sudden something very exciting could be on. Varney chases it down and does brilliantly, because the towering figure of the right winger for France was bearing down upon his own kick there.
It's a brilliant ball from Antoine Dupont. They're just going around the corner with the big forwards, and he throws a missed ball in front of the forwards to Damien Penaud. Tries to kick over Stephen Varney. Says Stephen Varney does brilliantly to get back and dot it down for what's going to be a goal line dropout with the new rules.
Damien Penaud slowly but surely working his way up the all-time try-scoring leaderboard charts for the French. 21 in his 37 caps, making his 38th today, and I think they're pretty short odds on him getting on the score sheet again. He is prolific. France now, right before the post, just outside the Italian 22. They have so dominated the territory in this round 1 tussle. Ramos finds Ficou, beats one, eventually brought down by an Italian player. Dupont finds Bai, who frees his hand, as is his wont. Made the second most offloads in the whole tournament last year, the French Lou said. France go again down the blind side. Ntamak delays the pass, finds Dumortier, the young 22-year-old Lyon player, wearing a French jersey for the first time. Dupont again. really whips it out, the speed of those passes. And again, finds Ntamak. Here is Olivon. Dupont again, Moefana, the inside centre, finds the fly half, who just trickles it through, asking questions of the Italian back line. Bruno does wonderfully to dance through the first couple of tackles before eventually Ficou brings him down. Italy again, looking to run it from their own 22. There is a kicking option, but they just refuse to use it this afternoon. Lamaro, the captain, 10 metres out from his own try line. Here is Varney. Allen waits in the pocket, takes his time, drops it to his right foot. Will have wanted more distance on it than that. Just outside the 22, Italy will process.
Some of the French interplay here, the offloading, you can't underestimate how good an offload can make the attacking play, how much easier it makes the play, because the defence just don't get the time to set. The Italians get an option to kick the ball. Bruno again chooses not to, which you have to implore. It's obviously a tactic they're trying to use. They're saying, let's play out, not just kick. But again, the French, given so many opportunities, they will take one of them.
And yet again, it is one-way traffic. France looking to strike. Dupont to Bailly. Lovely wraparound pass there, Sexton-esque. But if Sexton was 6'3" and weighed 125 kilos, Bailly again taking on all comers this afternoon. Dupont in open play finds Moefana, whose uncle, Falatea, is wearing 18 on the bench for the French outfit today. Ntamak. Again, such quick little passes from the French. The handling is so deft from Fabien Galtier's side. And here is Penaud scampering through the centre of the field here. It's Jelonch with the ball, 10 metres in from the far touchline, 10 metres from the Italian 22. 4 points the difference. Italy 14, France 19, 45 minutes played. But France were playing with an advantage there, and we will come back for the penalty.
Yeah, the French, it's glorious to watch when they're in this type of mood where the ball just looks so effortless, and it's almost like they haven't their structure. They're not told what to do. They just play what they see, and they're just good, very, very good rugby players. Just throwing the ball around. Interesting to see how they've chosen to take the shot at goal, which kind of shows the respect maybe for Italy that this isn't an easy game. They're playing against the Italians is not an easy game. I've always said it. Everyone always says, oh, you should beat the Italians, you should beat them by 30, 40 points. It's never the case. That they make it so hard.
So given what happened yesterday in Cardiff, how concerned will Warren Gatland and his Welsh team be about the prospect of a trip to Rome in the third round?
I mean, I think everybody should be a little bit nervous about the Italians. I think the Italians coming to Twickenham next weekend, if you're an English fan or an English coach, you have to respect what the Italians are all about. They're obviously going to try and play a little bit differently this year. They're not going to die wondering. They're going to throw the ball around. I think maybe they'll learn a little bit from this game that maybe extend that a little bit further up the pitch. But you give them space, then they've got people that can tear you to shreds like Kapawatsu did in the first half.
It's a very well-judged effort from 10 metres in from that touchline from Thomas Ramos. He adds another 3 and the gap grows to 8. France leading 22 points to 14 here at the Stadio Olimpico as a completely poker-faced Fabien Galtier watches on.
Don't get much out of him in the box, do you? In the coach's box.
It's hard to tell behind the swimming goggles. Alan.
He's got a gala later.
Doing the individual medley. Olivon receives the restart, 10 metres in from the far touchline, right on the French 22.
Thank you, number 3.
Plenty of big bodies in there, helping Antoine Dupont out, buying the scrum half-time to box kick it, and the distance he gets is pretty peerless. Capozzo catches it just in on from the touchline and finds Allen on a direct line. He's wrapped up. Italy with the ball. The white jerseys. Big hits coming in the midfield. Varney picks out Brex, the outside centre, and Varney again, quicker ball here from the Italians, Negri. And they find themselves up on the halfway line, right in the centre of the field. Allen. Picking out Ferrari, the tight head. Here is the loose head. Fischetti carrying, galloping trampling all in his path. And suddenly a bit of wind in Italian sails, and you can hear that reflected in the noise here at Stadio Olimpico. They've only got one try to France's 3 this afternoon, but they are still in hunt of another. Ball's kicked over the top, a bit of a hiding to nothing from an apologetic-looking Varney. Ramos calls the mark.
The option's right from Stephen Varney. He sees the space. He just unfortunately went with his left foot, just hooked it a little bit into Thomas Ramos's hands. He calls the mark. But brilliant play from the Italians. When they're playing with that much dynamism and that pace, they're dangerous.
And an error from the French. That misses touch. Capozzo has it. Now it's Bruno. Definitely a high tackle there from Charles Olivon. The referee's hands go out. They have an advantage. Italy right in the centre of the pitch here on the Guinness logo, sprayed on the green grass of the Stadio Olimpico. Varney back the other way. Finds Fischetti. Got his breath back after that trundling, bulldozing run a moment ago. The pendulum swung back the other way, you feel. Italy sensing an opportunity. Negri carries hard, 5 metres in from the near touchline, coast to coast go the Italians, and Ruzza bounces off Antonio with all the efficacy of a paper aeroplane. Brex pops it backwards. Varney. Italy still with an advantage here. It's a looping pass over the top from Allen. Penaud stops Negri in his tracks.
Only on the 10, isn't it, guys?
Might be a fresh advantage here for the hosts. And it is. Nicotera, the Italian hooker with a carry, will come back for the penalty. Enough is enough, says Matthew Carley.
You can hear Tommaso Allen on the ref mic saying, take the penalty. We're tired. That was a breathtaking bit of play. Another penalty here. Now, Matt Carley did warn the French that the next one would be going to the bin. Maybe enough time has passed between penalties that he's not sent Charles Olivon to the bin here, but Tommaso Allen puts the ball. What a kick.
Well, he's made up for that one earlier, hasn't he? Tommaso Allen almost landed that on the flag in the very bottom corner of this pitch.
One thing the Italians do is they don't go away. They do not go away, and they do not go away without a fuss. They're in this game. They are in this game. If they can score a try here, that French doubt is just going to still be there.
Nicotera 5 metres out, 8 points the difference here in Rome. Half an hour left to play. He plays it short and safe, and it's Niccolò Canone who brings it down. And now that maul of the Italians just beginning to purr. Use it, says the referee, but they're still going forwards. The ball is there, just short of the line, inches out. Nicotera with an advantage. Italy with a free hit here, and they are but blades of grass away from a second score here in Italy.
Stop.
It's a yellow card coming. Has to be.
Move away, your decision, move away. Move away. I just lost sight of the ball, that's all, so...
Yeah, that's got close to 7's club. So
right, okay. So Ben, 7 is definitely going in the bin. I'd just like to check the proximity of the goal line. We believe it's the same maul moving forward.
Okay, so we'll show you the best angle. It's probably the live view first, and then we'll go from there. Here it is.
We're just seeing that driving maul again. That's the voice of Ben Whitehouse, this afternoon's TMO.
Same maul.
Charles Olivon, we have heard, is heading to the bin.
Is moving at speed towards the goal line.
But will we see a penalty try?
Yeah,
as
just
well?
hold on there. Keep watching.
This has to be a penalty try. Already Charles Olivon is definitely going to the sin bin. They're just checking.
I believe that's a collapse. So the maul has stayed in the same lane. It's going towards the goal line, and 7 has collapsed it, which has stopped the opportunity for the player to score.
Agree with all your facts.
So we've got a yellow card for 7 blue.
Yep.
And a penalty try.
Agreed.
Yes.
Well, it's yellow for Charles Olivon, the open side for the French, and it's 7 for the Italians. And listen to what it means to everybody here at the Stadio Olimpico. The gap is but 1 point.
1 and
3. It is going off here. It is going off. Exactly what the opposite of what the French would want from the start of this second half. The crowd is now, they're going to be another man advantage. It's the 16th man now, and obviously the French down to 14.
The subs are completed.
The Could they be the masters of their own downfall here, the French?
Well, you are right. It is cacophonous here in Rome as Ntamack gets us back underway. What a kick chase, Damien Penaud. He's bang up for this. The French right winger drives back the recipient of that restart so quickly we couldn't even see who it was. Fischetti with a carry. Italy's prop forward. They're straight back on their own try lines here, the French. Oh, and Dupont manages to get a fingertip to Allen's attempted clearance kick. It's only gone 10 metres and he is furious.
Yeah, and rightly so. Obviously, it's a tactic for Italy. They're not kicking from 9 for some reason. They're not kicking off 9. Maybe they feel like Tommaso Allen has the better boot than Varney does, but it just invites pressure. They've thrown it back 15 metres to kick it 20, so it's a net gain of 5. Whereas as from a scrum half, you're going to kick it 15 or 20. It doesn't make sense to me. And maybe giving the French, they've stole the lineup. It was a plan all along.
Nicolo Canone, the orchestrator of that French line out going right. Italy have plenty of work left to do. There is a territorial mountain left to climb. They're 10 metres out from their own try line. Stephen Varney pops it up over the top. It's a steepling kick. Has it found touch? It's just about stayed in. Ramos does very well to catch that one safely and bring it down. The French fullback right on this near touchline, the French. 2 substitutes have happened in the interim. Both the French props are off, so onto the field come Reza Woodi and Sipili Falatea for the visitors. They're up by 1, down by a player, and Ntamack sends a ball high indeed. It's Capuzzo who rises the highest, bats it backwards to Varney, who sends a low questing kick into the French half. Ntamack is there, picks out Penaud. One of the finest poachers in rugby, dribbles it through, chases it, pins his ears back. It's Penaud against Marisi in a foot race. The ball is loose. Capuzzo just about there to pinch it back. He's driven down into the ground. You cannot take your eyes off this one.
This is a brilliant game. It really is. It's a bit end-to-end. It's a great kick. It's a great box kick to start with from Stephen Varney. He can box kick. So if I was the Italian coach, let the man box kick. It's a better way of exiting. And then Damien Penaud just gets the ball in the backfield, sees some space, puts the grubber kick in, and I think he's knocked it on just going over the line. So it'll be a scrum to the Italians. But Damien Penaud showed all the experience, all the pace there, nearly to get the French over the line for their 4th and bonus point try.
We never think about bonus points in the Six Nations. It's about pride. It's about all those famous historic head-to-heads. But I'm going to trot out the cliche, possibly the most open Six Nations we've ever seen. They really could make a difference, couldn't they?
They're huge. And obviously yesterday, Ireland getting the bonus point. Everyone's talking about the French v the Irish in terms of that Grand Slam deciding game or the Six Nation deciding game. Bonus points are going to play a part this year. They really are.
We've talked about the French having big men. Well, enter Romain Taufifenua. The giant lock forward is in at the second row and in at the heart of that scrum. Italy needing to exit now. It's back in the pocket, and again they persist with Allen kicking as their exit strategy. He gets it just outside the 22, but eventually this pressure will surely tell Danny Care.
I don't know if it will. This game could anything could happen. French still down to 14, but still looking dangerous. The Italians not heeding our advice, not listening to us.
Well, they had it on in the dressing room. I doubt they've got it on the field with them. They trail by just 1, 25 points remaining. France receiving their own line out and a big, beefy shove from the back of that maul from the French hooker Marchand. They find themselves 5 metres in from the near touchline, just starting to enter the Italian 22. Dupont says enough is enough, finds Ficou, who carries up over the top of Allen. Again, swift from the ruck, swift to the ruck is Dupont. French go again, but Italy celebrate that turnover as though it were a try. France not rolling away.
It's a huge moment. The first carry from Gaël Ficou's exceptional. And the French come around the corner. They don't quite get the numbers right. Canone gets over the ball. And it's a good turnover. It's a good turnover, and the Italians managed to get out. Are we going to see an upset? Oh, this is huge.
You're listening to Radio 5 Extra's coverage of Italy against France in the first round of this year's Six Nations, and you mustn't go anywhere, because the team that finished at the bottom of the table last year are a point away from upsetting France, the second best team in the world, the team defending the Grand Slam, the team hosting the World Cup this autumn.
Right, okay,
Alongside Danny Kerr, and we can scarcely believe our eyes. Antoine Dupont, the French captain, box kick up over the top of that ruck. But France have a penalty. Italy pinged at the line out, and they will have another chance to get back into that Italian 22.
Yeah, discipline hurting the Italians here. First, who discipline with the line out. Thibaut Florent gets up in the air, steals the ball,
It was still a line out, okay?
and then the Italians give a penalty away for offside, and Thomas Ramos has got the kicking tee on, which again shows maybe it's not all about bonus points. First things first, get the win, and the French just trying to keep that scoreboard ticking over.
You mentioned Thibaut Florent. His is one of the great stories of professional rugby these days. He was at Loughborough University playing as a fly half in the fifth team. Then he hit his growth spurt, found himself 6'6", decided lock forward was probably a better fit. Sashi didn't fit any of the number 10 jerseys at Loughborough. Went and played in Argentina for a summer, came back, signed for Wasps, signed for Toulouse, 1-2, skip a few. He's won the Champions Cup, the top 14 and a Grand Slam to boot.
And the first try in the French campaign, the Six Nations. It's incredible. I'm still waiting for my growth spurt. Always got told by the doctor it was coming at some point. My brother's 6'2". Never happened for me, unfortunately.
It's in the post. Thomas Ramos did indeed ask for the kicking tee, but those are 3 points gone begging. It was a long effort, and he was just a foot away. Cuts a frustrated figure.
They do look frustrated, the French. They look frustrated. They look a bit flustered. The Italians, if you would have given the Italians this scoreline at 57 minutes, I think they'd have bitten your hand off during the week.
So 21 plays 22. The hosts, before an enwrapped Stadio Olimpico, just a point behind and turning the ball over at the breakdown straight away. Varney finds Ruzza. Here's Capozzo, and on a direct line is Lorenzo Canone. Julien Marchand, the French hooker, did brilliantly to bring down the number 8. Here's Menoncello. Come back, Italy playing under that advantage there. Menoncello, who scored in this fixture this time last year, but hasn't been seen all that much since. Pulled his hamstring quite badly, tore his hamstring indeed, missed the rest of the championship. But Paul Gustard, who's working with Benetton Rugby at the moment, says that he's really one to watch.
He's a wonderful player. We want to see him get the ball in hand as much as we can, and the Italians with some field position now, a chance to take the lead in this game. Would you believe it?
Kieran Crowley, Italy's head coach, said in the week that he knows his team aren't as big as the French team, so they needed to play street smart. Do you think those breakdown turnovers, 7 for the French and 9 for the Italians, is indicative of that?
Yeah, I think what you will get with the Italians, you saw the penalty there for holding on. They make every breakdown a real nuisance, and that's something they pride themselves on. They try and slow everything down. They'll throw everything into every breakdown. Unfortunately, they've knocked the ball on here. We've given the French a chance to exit. But they make life hard. They make life really hard, especially at home with that crowd as well.
There's a big blue caterpillar out on the pitch inside the French 22. Dupont is at the base of it. Sends the ball high, but not as long as we've been accustomed to seeing this match. They'll be out of their 22, the French, but not by all that much.
For the yellow card, please.
Yeah, Antoine Dupont just showing he can box kick off both right foot and left foot. The left foot maybe letting down a little bit there. It's still a good 25-metre kick, so he is human, though.
It's reassuring to know.
Hang on.
Nicotera,
Go on,
wearing number 2 for the Italians today, will have the throw-in.
Happy?
Midway between the 22 and that halfway line, Italy looking to take that 1-point deficit and turn it into a lead. Well, they have the advantage off the line out. It's a bouncing ball, but it's fielded well by Brax. He makes some hay. 10 metres shy of their 22. Varney opts to box it up over the top. It was a fearsome chase by Negri. But the French managed to force the ball on. They've not heard the whistle. Dumortier might have thought he was away and clear though, but we'll have to come back for the penalty.
Another penalty for the French. Sean Edwards, if he had any hair, it would be on the floor at the Stadio Olimpico here, because the French are just, they're hurting themselves here. The Italians are now with Tommaso Allen with 20 minutes to go. Have got a kick to make the score 24-22. Everyone was calling for a back-to-back Grand Slams. They might lose the first game.
And the referee points to the sticks. That is where Tommaso Allen will look to send this ball to give Italy the lead for the first time in this match. Now, these are the stats that you almost think you don't need to dig out. Italy have only beaten France in the Six Nations twice in 23 encounters. French have won the last 9. Now, there are 20 minutes left to play here in Rome, but if Tommaso Allen, who's just lining up this kick now, going through his pre-kick routine just outside the 22 and fairly central, runs up, strikes it cleanly, and we have got some finale on our hands here in Rome.
This is amazing. This is amazing. This could be history in the making. I believe that the Italians haven't won at home in the Six Nations in 10 years, in about 10 years. Is that right? I hope I'm right.
It is, and it was against France in Rome in 2013.
Would you believe it? Is it going to happen?
19 minutes left on the clock. 24 plays 22. Tommaso Allen has been deputising for Paolo Garbisi, who normally wears that Italian fly-half jersey. Well, he has proven just why. He occupies it very nicely indeed. What a kick that was. Italy up by 2, 19 minutes to make history.
Away then, Blue, and release.
Are they going to play sensibly now?
Use it.
It's the million-dollar question.
It's a very good question, and someone tasks with stopping them.
They're going to kick a box kick.
Varney looking to pop it over the top, looking to enact the charge down there was Sekou Makalu, wearing 21 for the French, a towering figure entering the fray, and it really is a fray. Knock-ons all over the place. It's Nicotera, the hooker, who comes up with it just shy of the halfway line, 5 metres in from this near touchline. Slow at the ruck.
Stephen.
It's our referee just addressing Stephen Varney,
Kaylee.
the Italian scrum half.
Message for all your players. Please don't trap players who are on the wrong side. Let them move. Please stop shouting. Okay, thank you. Knock on.
It's a scrum half. That's his job.
Yeah, I've had those tones many times from Matt Carley. Doesn't take well to being told what to do on a rugby pitch by the scrum half. But can I just say, Stephen Varney's he's had the opportunity to put 2 box kicks up now, and they have been world-class box kicks. One, they nearly took Thomas Ramos out. The one there, it's a 50-50 in the air, and Ramos has knocked it on, and now they've got a scrum, an attacking platform scrum.
Varney with the put in. And those the words of Danny Kerr, a scrum half who knows a thing or two about winning in this competition. I got that right. You've got 3 winners' medals and a Grand Slam.
Yeah, should have been more. Should have been more. You always want more, I think. And I remember we lost the deciding game to go back-to-back Grand Slams in 20. We did it in 2016. We lost the final game in Ireland in 2017, and it hurt. It really did hurt. And the French maybe doing it a little bit differently and deciding to lose their first game here.
Well, Italy turning the screw, winning a free kick at that scrum, and they set off at absolute lightning speed. Ange Capuzzo drops it onto his laces. It's trickling towards the corner flag. Damien Penaud with a lot to do there. Under plenty of pressure, kicks it straight into touch.
Play on.
Italy putting their pedal to the metal there off the free kick.
Yeah, they've gone quickly. They've thrown the ball and there's no messing around here. The ball went off the pitch. It was a great kick from Damien Penaud, and the Italians are throwing it in straight. The Italians are going for the win here. I love this. Love this from them.
Italy putting real width on the ball. It's a carry for Pietro Ceccarelli, the replacement tight head who's on. They're just inside their own half here, right before the post. Here is Allen delaying a pass picking out Negri. The ball hits the deck. It's knocked on. France with the penalty as well. Italy only have a 2-point lead here in Rome. They cannot afford to be wasteful.
It was so close to working. The little wraparound play that they've used, a load that you see with Johnny Sexton, Thomas O'Allen this time. And they just can't get the ball to hand. And then they give a penalty away for playing the ball on the floor. Oh, was that the moment? Was that the moment that the Italians could have really put the French under some pressure?
Sorry, no. Sorry. 10 blue.
24-22. A huge 15 minutes back in Rome, right here on Sports Extra. And the French make a change. Romain Ntamack is off, and on in his place Mathieu Jalibert. Such a battle they have over that fly-half jersey. Such an abundance of riches in French rugby.
It's not a bad replacement. It's not a bad replacement to come on with 15 minutes to go. Fabien Galtier saying, go win us this game. Go and keep our Six Nations dreams alive.
My favourite Jalibert fact, and I think of this often, is that he named his beagle Owen after Owen Farrell.
Wow. But that's a very obedient beagle.
Vantage side.
Won't make any comments about how it tackles. Dupont at the back of a French ruck. The ball's brought down 5 metres from the near touchline, just inside their half. They have the penalty. The discipline of the Italians is just starting to unravel in the latter stages of this one.
The French now with an interesting decision to make, and the tee isn't coming on. They're going to the corner. Banana kick there from Jalibert.
French will have the throw here, 10 metres out from their try line.
14.
A score, converted or otherwise, or even a penalty, would have their noses back in front. Pierre Bruno is leaving for the Italians. The replacement's coming thick and fast now, and on comes Eduardo Padovani, the man at the end of the break to end all breaks in Cardiff, the man who dotted down to break Welsh hearts at the end of last year's Six Nations. France with the line out just inside the 22, 5 metres in. Flamand is at the heart of them all, urging his teammates on, and on they go, 10 metres out now. Could this be the moment that France strike back? To Makalu. Now Fickou with the carry, right before the post. Fickou release, has the option to go again, makes an extra couple of yards, 5 metres out, the French. Here is Olivon. Now Tafafanua, Jalibert dances inside, wonderful feet and a wonderful score. France back in front in Rome.
Field position, and then up the jumper stuff in the maul from the French. They sucked in the defenders. Gaël Fickou hits a wonderful attacking line, and then the Italians let go of him. Fickou gets up his feet, plays the ball again, as you can do, runs an extra 5 or 7 metres, and then it's just all about power. Olivon tip, Tafafanua offload, Jalibert try. What an impact from the fly half.
We wondered if the replacements might make a difference to this game. How about that? For arriving onto the field and changing the trajectory of a match.
Yeah, a little bit of right place at the right time for Jalibert, but he'll say it's all me. It's all me. That's what I used to do. I made a career out of that the last few years of playing for England.
Don't you still do it?
No, I have to start these games normally, the Harlequins.
Ramos with the kick to extend the lead to 5 points. That was the bonus point score. Ramos looking to bring France's tally up to 29, and so he does. The Italians back chasing, as they have been so much this afternoon.
Yeah, the Italians have worked so hard. They really have, to fight their way back into this game. Down for most of the game, they found a way to finally take the lead, and then the French, when needed, when called upon, when something needs to happen, they find their way over the line. Fascinating last 12 minutes now.
Still so much to play for. Only 5 points. 12 minutes left to go. Olivon back into proceedings now, so it's a level playing field. 15 plays 15, blue plays white.
What a kick.
And Dupont picking out the white paint of the touchline to bring France yet closer to that try line.
1, 2, 4 and 8.
And Kieran Crowley reaches into his box of tricks and pulls out a quartet of forwards.
No problem, thank you.
Coming on to stem the tide, perhaps even to wrestle back the lead. On comes replacement hooker Bighi.
Time on, numbers.
Federico Zani, the loose head. Yakizi making his debut for the senior Italian side, on in the second row. And Pettinelli, the flanker. Plenty of fresh legs, and they will need them. They have 11 minutes here, Italy, who've just won a penalty. 11 minutes to score 5 or more points.
Again, it's Olivon. He's already been in the sin bin. He's given away a fair few penalties, and he's played the arm of the Italian jumper there, and given Tommaso Allen an opportunity to use that big right boot and give the Italians another opportunity to try and get back in this game. Who's your money on, Claire? What do you reckon is going to happen here?
I think this line out here is absolutely essential. It's a big first throw for Bighi, the replacement hooker. Wouldn't put it past the Italians. There's a real sense of belief in this team, and that is something new that the Kieran Crowley era has instilled. They're used to winning matches now, and as I say that, France turn it over. Straight in over the ball. Tao Fifenua, the hulking figure. And Dupont taking his time. Not a care in the world. This time they opt to clear through Ramos, the big boot of the fullback. Sends it up, right up to the halfway line. Pressure immediately averted, and Italy still trail by 5. 10 minutes to play.
Jelonch with maybe a game-winning turnover. It's unbelievable, Jackal. The speed that he gets in, he gives the Italians no opportunity to get underneath him. Steals the ball, rips it back to his side with one motion, and Ramos boots them up to the halfway line.
Bighi sends a short line out to the front. Italy on the halfway line, 10 metres in from that far touchline. The ball paced backwards by Maurici, the London Irish centre. And Italy with an advantage. They come again. Ruzza frees his hand. The offload is wild, but Varney's there to scoop it up. And here now is Menoncello. Pins his ears back, drops it onto his left foot, sets off in hot pursuit. It's just about bundled into touch by the French, but Italy did have the advantage there. Penalty to the Azzurri.
Another penalty. If I was the Italian captain, and I'm not, but I'd be maybe in the era of Matt Carley just to say how many more again before another one goes in the sin bin, because the French have been incredibly cynical here.
A glimpse there at the attacking prowess of Menoncello.
It's a great name as well, isn't it?
A lot of great names in this Italian team. Makes you think Danny Kerr. Not enough syllables there.
Yeah, it's a bit boring, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I wouldn't say boring. It's a commentator's dream.
Easy. You can't get it wrong. Although people do a lot when I'm on the phone to actually tell them booking an appointment for something, etc. A reservation, care. They all think Kerr. It's Kerr or Carey. They don't quite get care. Just have to say Mother Care to them.
Mother Care.
Mother Care.
Well, as interesting as your predicament is, Danny, Tommaso Allen is lining up.
It's slightly more important matters here in front of us.
A penalty. Italy opting to narrow the deficit here to just 2 points, but it's a long way out, this. Just inside the half. Allen puts his laces right through it, and it drifts inches wide of the right upright. Oh, he looks scandalised, a puff of the cheeks as he flings the tee back behind him. The gap remains 5. 7.5 minutes left to play in Rome. Italy, just moments ago, were within touching distance of a famous victory, but the defending champions France have wrestled back the lead. They have a bonus point score. Can they hold on? You're listening on 5 Extra. I'm Claire Thomas, and I'm alongside Danny Kerr.
Carey.
On the shoulder for me.
Italy with the ball. Inside their own half, as has been the case so much this afternoon. Varney picks out Allen. Here is a carry from Maurici. The big, strong inside centre. The counter up from Macalou. The French flanker is absolutely fearsome. Italy do well to keep hold of that one. Allen pass goes awry. Here is Brax, centre for the Italians. Right into the centre of the park they go, and Varney asking questions of the backline, asking questions of Mathieu Jalibert, but he's up to the task and returns it with interest.
All onside.
Capuzzo, the full-back, reads it well, scored that wonderful score in the opening 40. You wouldn't put it past him to produce a moment of magic. 6 minutes left to play. Down the blind side, Italy go, 10 metres in from that far touchline. Here's replacement back, Zuliani with a carry. Ducks his head in the navy blue scrum cap. And again, exiting via their 9, Italy. Varney pops it up. There's a big chase from Menoncello, but Ramos is there. He sends it back down the centre of the pitch.
Always under pressure, always going backwards.
Down the
no other
throat
options.
of Capuzzo, but it was knocked on, and France will have the push in back just inside their own half.
It was a great kick again from Stephen Varney. He puts it on, he makes it a contestable, he makes it a 50-50, and unfortunately Padovani gets one arm to it, but it goes forwards.
Number 9, Stephen.
And the French have a scrum here, as we see Stephen Varney leaving the field.
Off heads the scrum half, and on in his place comes Alessandro Fusco, making just his 6th appearance for the Azzurri. Made his debut against Argentina back in 2021, becoming the first person from Naples to compete for the Italians. Well, he's entered a cauldron, an absolute bubbling cauldron, because there are 5 minutes left to play at the Stadio Olimpico. France lead by 5. However this one finishes, this was not the game we expected, Danny Kerr.
It wasn't, and then it was, you know. It's a hard one. We said it was going to be tougher than we thought. It's never easy going to Italy in the first game and trying to get a win. The passion that we can feel here in the stadium, it's tough to get off to a good start. And but the French, have, as I said earlier, have been the masters of their own downfall a bit. Their discipline has been awful, and against better teams, they will get punished. Let's just see if they've got one more bit of magic in them to see this game off.
Well, it's Dupont in off the back of that scrum. Lovely interplay with some of his backs. Capuzzo looks for an extravagant volley to keep the grubber in touch, out of touch, but doesn't manage to do so. Jalibert is furious, calling for a TMO. He thinks the Capuzzo touched it before
There's no discussion.
it went into touch.
Discussion, please.
Referee Matthew Carley disagrees.
Over the line of touch.
Oh, I think the ball was touched in the initial grubber. I think that's what the French are arguing at, that it was deflected by an Italian foot. So that's why Capuzzo did try to kick it to keep it in, because he knew as well. But I think the refs missed one there.
BG, former skipper of the Azzurri, sends the line out short, picks out Ruzzo. Here come Italy. Perhaps one final throw of the dice here in Rome. Capuzzo scampering, weaving his way through blue jerseys, but brought down eventually. Fusco fizzes it out, centre of the field. Gosh, you can really get some pace on those. Here is Padovani.
No.
Dances in field.
Use it.
And at scrum half is Iacchesi, the lock forward. Fusco now back on delivery duties. Finds Brax. Italy approaching the French half now. There are 3.5 minutes left to play. Only 5 points in this one. Azzurri trail by a score. A try, that is. A penalty won't do it. They have to go for broke here. France, though, come up with the turnover. That's a big, big penalty. And it's Makalou at the heart of it.
It's a brilliant steal. Tommaso Allen comes around with the ball. Not much on outside. Goes himself. Gets slightly isolated. And that's a big old object to try and move for the Italians. And the French now, where they wind the clock down. 3 minutes to go. Bonus point victory if they can just secure this, and it'll be job done. They won't care how they get it. If they get out of Rome with a win, they'll be very, very happy.
There's a picture of Sean Edwards up on the big screen of the stadium. He's stood up now, interestingly. He was sat down a little bit earlier, and I wonder if those are nerves. BG. Oh, sends it long. Ball bounces out. Italy have it. Allen. They're playing their way out of their own 22. Now Marisi drops it to his laces. Capuzzo scampers after it, just about manages to keep it in field. Oh, but the second time of asking, it's in touch. Italy look to go quickly, but the referee's having none of it. So smiling Matthew Carley, who brings them back.
Yeah, you could just see that youthful exuberance in Ange Kopawatsu. He's a wonderful player, wonderful to watch. Nearly gets one down the wing. It's almost like the perfect through ball to himself. Should be playing for Man United at the minute. Italians within maybe one more opportunity.
90 seconds left. The crowd are really making themselves heard. Vuvuzelas ringing out. Flags waving amongst the packed stands. Italy have the ball right on the halfway line, 5 metres in from that far touchline. And off they trundle, white shirts. With a free hit as well, they have an advantage. Italy with a free hit here. They're 5 points behind the reigning champions. Capuzzo drops it onto his laces. There's plenty of blue bodies setting off in hot pursuit. Dumortier had a foot in touch. Will go back for the advantage. 1 minute left to play here in Rome. It's blockbuster stuff.
This is a crazy game. It's a crazy game. Whoever is going to be in charge of dealing with the French discipline in the week, it's going to be tough watching for some of these players, because they're just inviting opportunity after opportunity for the Italians. It's just now down to the Italians. Have they got what it takes to beat the Italians to win their first game at home in the Six Nations for 10 years? But it was against the French.
The anthem rings out. Alan will have looked for a little more distance on that. They're just shy of the 22. It's a final gargantuan throw of the dice as Kieran Crowley, the Italian head coach, slumps in his chair.
His emotions have not changed since the start.
Nor of Fabien Galtier. They'd have quite the poker game. BG right on the 22 on that far touchline, sends it arcing high into the hands of his skipper. It's a little wraparound by Fusco, a trick play from the Italians. Bettinelli sets off, spins through a couple of tackles. Italy now 10 metres out, 10 metres from that far touchline. It is deafening in Rome. A carry from the captain. French paws all over it. Italy with the penalty.
Hands went on the floor first, then you played the ball.
That was a massive call.
Your hands went clear.
Tal Fifanua, hands on the floor. Referees have been told to look out for this and never have these calls mattered more. The clock is red, but it's going to be a team in blue who win it. The question is, which one will it be? Alan kicks it out into touch. We've talked about final throws of dice. This is a final throw of the rugby ball as Italy's bench pace the touchline. There's 5 points in it. A try to draw it, a converted try to make some almighty history. Italy with an advantage here. This is huge. This is absolutely huge in Rome. They're metres out from the touchline, 10 metres from the try line, but France
immediately
force a knock on.
Not immediately, you had to move to put it back. It wasn't immediate.
The full-time whistle blows and Italy are absolutely dumbstruck. They had the cards to win it, to do something absolutely odds-defying, but they came unstuck at the death. And it wasn't pretty, but the French title defence is up and running. Rome has fallen at the very, very last, powerless in the face of a disorganised and ill-disciplined French siege. Full time at the Stadio Olimpico. Italy 24, France by the skin of their teeth 29.
Oh, it's heartbreak for the Italians and it's absolute relief for the French. All you got to do is you got to win. You got to find a way to win. They found a way to win at the end there. I thought they'd done everything in their powers to try and lose it with the amount of penalties that they gave away, and they're going to have to sort that out for the rest of the tournament. But Antoine Dupont and his men, I think, will skip onto that plane and get out of there and reassess, because they're going to have to play a lot better this year if they're going to retain their Six Nations trophy.
What of the vanquished Azzurri, though? How much heart can they take from elements of that performance?
Oh, it's been a joy to watch. It's been a joy to sit here and watch it. They never gave up, and they never do. And that's what's going to come to Twickenham at the weekend. I think there'll be a few England fans watching that going, oh dear, like this is going to be tough. And if they play if they play as well as they did today, they're going to cause England some problems. So close, but yet so far again. How many times have we said this with Italy? They managed to find 2 wins last season. They just need to find that cutting edge when it really needs it to get them over the line against some of the best teams in the world.
They have, though, crucially taken a point away from this fixture, and there are lots of teams in this competition who would love to bank a point against Les Bleus.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And if you'd have said they'd have a line out to potentially win the game in the last minute against the French in their opening round, if you'd have said that to them before the game, I'm sure they'd have taken it all day long. They've shown incredible heart, incredible skill at times, and I think with a bit more pragmatism in their own half, this Italian team, I've said it all the time, they're going to beat someone this Six Nations, and they might will get a couple of victories if they play like that.
It's been a tough weekend for the Italians. Their under-20s lost by a missed conversion with the clock in the red against the French on Friday night. They've now lost by just 4 points here in Rome, 5 points here in Rome, but Italian rugby, inarguably a force on the rise.
It really is. It really is. As we said, in 2022, winning 5 of the last 7 games. Almost started 2023 with a bang by beating the current Six Nations holders. But they'll take so much from this game. They'll learn from it, and they'll come to Twickenham a better team, which, yeah, this English team have got a lot to prepare for because they're playing slightly differently to other teams this tournament. They're going to throw the ball around, and they're going to test England in different ways. And where England struggled a little bit yesterday was when the ball went wide, and these Italians are throwing the ball wide.
But I hope it's dry at Twickenham next Sunday, where, of course, we will be calling the game alongside one another.
We will. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great game, and that game, seeing the Italians there has made me even more excited, if I could have been.
One final question for you, Danny. We've now seen all the runners and riders of the 2023 Guinness Six Nations. Who's lifting the pot, and will it be with a Grand Slam?
This is the huge question. There's some massive games coming up. Obviously, from the opening weekend, you would say that the Irish look the best, but that would be the worst punditry ever because it's easy, because they just went and beat Wales by so many. But they did let Ireland in. They did let Wales back into the game a little bit coming towards the end of the game. So, and with a few errors, I still think this French team will be better than this performance. I think they will realise we got away with one today, and we're going to have to be better. And I think it's between Ireland and France, but all the Scots will be hammering me for that because they just went and beat England. So everyone's going to beat everyone this tournament, but my winners are France still.
Since last year, so
there you have it, full time in Italy. Italians looking to give someone else that wooden spoon, and you wouldn't put it past them. They head to Twickenham next weekend. France, a shaky start. There will be so much to fix after that for Fabien Galtier and his merry men. They head to Dublin, one of the hardest places to go in world rugby right now. And of course, we will be bringing you every match live on BBC Sounds, whether that's on 5 Live or whether that's on Sports Extra. If you've not somehow had your rugby fix for the weekend, there will be a live show tonight at 8 p.m. reviewing the weekend with the usual gang of Chris Jones, Ugo Monnier, Sam Warburton and John Barclay. You can also hear that tomorrow. That will be the first Rugby Union Daily of the week. Remember, we're bringing you podcasts every single day of match weeks. It's a Herculean effort from the team. So wherever you get your podcasts from or on BBC Sounds, be sure to check that out. And there is, speak of the devil, a Sean Edwards special coming out this week. He sat down with Matt Dawson, which promises to be a pretty interesting listen. Thank you so much, wherever you are listening from, for tuning in this afternoon for what was a spectacularly entertaining affair. Thank you very much to Danny for your company. It's been a real joy.
Thank you for having me. A joy. I loved that game.
And we very much look forward to seeing you again soon, full time in Rome. Heartbreak for the Italians, but wow, what a performance. 24 points to 29. Congratulations to the French.